Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your good brother J News with another rendition of J News Japan. And tonight, we're talking to you about night number 5, Sunday, September 20th, 2020, G1 Climax 30 Tournament Block A action. So this is what you're going to see tonight, the solo show for night 5. I will pair nights 6 and 7, be it that they're in Kurikan Hall. And then I will do the solo for night 8 because it's A block, then B block, A block, and then B block again. So everything bookends. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment in the bottom here in the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. But let's get it underway. Night 5, G1 Climax 30. First match of the night, Young Lions, live from Hyogo, Japan at Kobe World Hall. Yoda Tsuji versus Gabriel Kidd in a 7-minute and 40-second match. Gabriel Kidd finally got the win over Yoda Tsuji with the double arm suplex. Finally proving his mettle against who seems to be the top gun in the Young Lions right now in New Japan Pro Wrestling. As for the LA Dojo, Gabriel Kidd still has a lot to prove. Obviously, from the looks and the outlooks of things, or whatever the case is. Not that he catches the most grief, but he's the one. Even though he's got the most veteran experience out of everybody who's a young lion currently, it just seems that he has to work that much harder in order to get over. But another hard-hitting contest here between Yoda Tsuji and Gabriel Kidd. Good mat work to begin the match for the first, I would say, 3 to 4 minutes. And then they went into submissions and reversals and things of that nature until they started hitting some high-impact moves. And then Gabriel Kidd was eventually able to stun Yoda Tsuji enough to hit the double arm butterfly suplex on Yoda Tsuji for the win. Block A action. We had a member of Suzuki Goon, Taichi, going up against member of the Bullet Club, Yujiro Takahashi. This match went about 11 minutes or so. I didn't really expect much out of this match between Taichi and Yujiro Takahashi, but I'll say this: it didn't bore me. Takahashi showed some good fire, and they went as far as I thought that they could go with their, at least with Takahashi's limited moveset. And Taichi was able to maneuver his way around this match. At the end of it all, Taichi had to win with the underhanded tactic by giving Yujiro Takahashi the low blow, and then, as this says here, winning with the Taichi style Gato clutch to win the match. Taichi is now 3-0, 6 points on the leaderboard. He is atop there with another member of the A block as well. And Yujiro Takahashi, still no wins, 0 wins, 3 losses, no points on the board. Third match of the night, we had my main man, Jeff Cobb, in a match against Minoru Suzuki. What can I say, man? This, for me, being that I've been watching Jeff Cobb for the last 5 to 6 years of his career, and the way he started out this G1 Climax tournament, outside of his win, matches have been lackluster, and especially when it comes to Minoru Suzuki, you don't usually look towards to like lackluster matches and stuff like that. But I didn't get the sense in this match for some reason. I really wasn't into it as much as I thought it was going to be. It wasn't as hard hitting as I thought it was going to be. For whatever reason, Minoru Suzuki at the beginning of the match was able to out wrestle Olympic wrestler in Jeff Cobb for some reason. I understand. Just to make this point, Minoru Suzuki wins the match over Jeff Cobb, hitting the Gotch style pile driver out of nowhere, really, to be quite honest. Suzuki now has 2 wins, 1 loss, 4 points. Jeff Cobb has 1 win, 2 losses with 2 points. But like the way that the match was put together didn't really make much sense to me. It just seemed like Suzuki really had the advantage the majority of the time over Jeff Cobb in a wrestling match. And understandably so, Jeff Cobb was a freestyle wrestler and things of that nature, but why would Minoru Suzuki at his age be able to out-wrestle Jeff Cobb at his age with the experience that he has? Like, Jeff Cobb is that much quicker, Jeff Cobb is that much stronger, and it basically looked like Minoru Suzuki took Jeff Cobb to school. And Jeff Cobb isn't playing the doesn't have the characteristics or isn't playing the character that Will Osprey is playing, where Jeff Cobb is like overly confident and cocky and things of that nature. Like, no, Jeff Cobb is in here to compete. He's in here to get some wins and see how far up the leaderboard he can go. And this was just strangely booked to me. The match lasted about 9.5 minutes. Like I said, Suzuki won with a Gotch-style pile driver. And that was about that. I wouldn't be able to remember to tell you what offense Jeff Cobb got in against Minoru Suzuki. Because it didn't sit enough with me for me to remember what Jeff Cobb did. I mean, he did his Gochi Muchi moonsault at one point, his running backdrop suplex, if I can recall, and stuff like that, and a drop kick, which wasn't even very high off the ground. But hey, that's about all I can say about that. Match number 4, we had Kota Ibushi versus Tomohiro Ishii. Ladies and gentlemen, this match was the match of the night. No way around it for me, just because of the sequences that Ibushi and Tomohiro Ishii put together. Yes, am I going to talk about the next match like it's the equivalent to this match? Maybe. But, man, Ibushi and Ishii tore it the fuck up. Excuse my language. 15 minutes, 41 seconds. Kota Ibushi, 2 wins, 1 loss, 4 points. Tomohiro Ishii, no wins, 3 losses, 0 points. Complete back and forth. No domination by any wrestler in this match at any period. Let's call them what they are. The fight sequences, the battle sequences that Kota Ibushi and Tomohiro Ishii were able to put together during the course of the match were so dope. Just the ability of being able to take out that little bit of Ibushi's dark side, where he no-sells the crap out of people, up against Tomohiro Ishii, was cool as well. In this, so they were both no-selling each other when it came to the maneuvers, especially with Ibushi's kicks to Tomohiro Ishii's chest. Ishii was eating those things, man, and Ibushi was eating Ishii's open hand palm strikes and stuff like that, and the forearms and the shoulder and the elbow throws. It was just, man. But like what they were able to put together, that last sequence of this match, I want to tell you guys, if you go on to NewJapanWorld.com and you turn on Night 5 that happened on September 27, 2020, Ibushi versus Tomohiro Ishii, the last 5 minutes of that match, that fight sequence between these two guys, the emotion that it drew out of me while I was watching as a fan and calling it, as I like to do when I listen to Japanese commentary at times, it just had me enthralled, man. And it was one of the better matches I have seen between these two in a while. And it was dope to see. It was dope to see. And I would say this is the match of the night, right? But then we have the next match, right? The 5th match of the night. We had Will Osprey versus Shingo Takagi. 22 minutes, 3 seconds. This match lasted. Will Osprey is probably, at this very moment in time, the most versatile and complete in-ring performer in the business today. And that's saying a lot, right? There's a lot of talented guys across so many promotions, but Will Osprey does stuff and makes things look so easy and effortless, but yet he tells such a story in the ring while he's doing it. His emotion, his the emotion he lends into his matches, his facials, what he's able to bring from a comedic standpoint, from a serious standpoint. When he wants to compete, he competes. And in this ring versus Shingo Takagi, this competition between these two men was a back and forth roller coaster. No one at all at any time had the upper hand in this match. Because of the way things were being booked, I thought Osprey was going to go over on Takagi. I was freaking dead wrong. Shingo Takagi got the win, hit Last of the Dragon on Will Osprey. Shingo is now 1 win, 2 losses, 2 points. Will Osprey stays at 2 wins, 1 loss, and 4 points. But man, this match exhausted me. The back and forth, the near falls, the maneuverability. At one point, Will Osprey hit a springboard coast to coast drop kick on Shingo when Shingo was hung up on the tree of woe in one of the corners and stuff like that. And then within the last part of the fight sequence here yet again in this match, Will Osprey, I believe, went for Stormbreaker. Shingo Takagi was able to maneuver out of Stormbreaker. Takagi then goes for another. He goes to put Will in a fireman's carry, and then Will's able to reverse that into putting Shingo into the powerbomb position, and then hitting a sit-down powerbomb on Shingo Takagi with the most fluid of motions. Folks, when I tell you that I had never seen anything like that, the level of athleticism between both men in order to put that sequence together is unfreaking real. I follow a lot of different social media wrestling accounts and stuff like that, and there was one guy that I follow on Instagram. I won't mention his account name, but he was talking about the pay-per-view that happened last night, Clash of Champions, the match between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, which by the way, folks, I never usually mention WWE stuff, but I'll mention this here. One of the most prolific, drama-filled, best storytelling matches I've seen out of a WWE ring in the last decade. Bar fucking none. But to counter, and my point's going to be this. The guy said he loves the drama. He's more old school. He loves the drama and he loves the storytelling. Guys, New Japan Pro Wrestling is all about the storytelling. Will Osprey looked like he was about to get the win in this particular match. But when Takagi was able to hit Last of the Dragon on Will Osprey, I expected Osprey to kick out, and he didn't. He got the 3 count. Takagi was then mouthing off to Osprey a little bit after that. And he knocked Osprey down a couple of pegs, right? Because at this point, Osprey got his first loss. He can no longer be as overly confident and as cocky as he has been. And now he's really got to go to work to get all these other wins in order to get through A-Block and whatnot. But a fantastic match. Both matches, the 4th match and the 5th match, I give them 4.5 stars just cause. Not just cause, but they were that damn good, to be quite honest. I said it at the end of my call when I was calling this match. It was what a match. There was no let up, y'all, and this is just I recommend you guys watch this match when you get a chance. Last match, 6th match of the night. We have the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada go up against Switchblade King Switch Jay White. This match went 18 minutes and 48 seconds. The majority of the concentration, the story being told in this particular match, was the injured lower back of Kazuchika Okada and how much pressure and how much of a beating Jay White continued to put on that lower back of Kazuchika Okada throughout the match. There were points in the match where you saw Kazuchika Okada make that comeback and drill Jay White with a couple of big boots and then tombstone pile drivers and then a discus style Rainmaker, right? Because he no longer does the Rainmaker proper. Plenty of times where he latched on the money clip submission hold on to Jay White, and Jay White did not tap. And at the end of it all, after Kazuchika Okada tried to go for the win with another money clip, Jay White and Goto were able to finesse themselves with Goto getting up on the apron. Red Shoes turning around because Goto threw something in the ring, and then Jay White getting the low blow on Okada. They wrestled for about another minute or two. After that, Jay White eventually hits the Blade Runner on Kazuchika Okada and wins this match. Jay White is now 3-0, no losses, 6 points. Kazuchika Okada now has 1 win, 2 losses, 2 points. So at the top of the leaderboard in the A block, we got Jay White, and we have Tai Chi with 6 points apiece. And then Minoru Suzuki has 4 points, Kota Ibushi has 4 points, and Will Osprey has 4 points. As for, we have Kazuchika Okada, Shingo Takagi, and Jeff Cobb with 2 points apiece at the end of night 5 of the G1 Climax 30 tournament in Hyogo Kobe World Hall. Next up, we have night 6 coming. Night 6 will be live from Tokyo, Japan at Kurikan Hall. B block action. This will be on September 29th, 2020. We have YOSHI-HASHI versus Sonata. We have Zack Saber Jr. versus Kenta. We have Juice Robinson versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. Toru Yano versus Evil. And the main event, Tetsuya Naito versus Hiroki Goto on the 29th of September in Kurikan Hall. So, folks, that'll be the breakdown. The next time you'll see me, I'll be reviewing both night 6 and 7 together. That's September 29th and the September 30th shows, which is B block and A block action together. And then I'll probably skip a day and do the October 1st show, which will just be B block action again. But thank you for watching, as always. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being wrestling fans. I appreciate y'all for all the views that you've been giving me as of late. Makes me feel good that folks are wanting the reviews and the New Japan news and aren't getting tired of your good brother J News. As always, like, share, comment, and subscribe to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. Take care of yourselves, y'all. Be safe out there. Be good to one another. And as always, stay wrestling fans. On to the next one, y'all. I'm about this. Peace.
Several days later.
Yes, y'all. It is your good brother, your main man, J News Japan, with another rendition of the reviews for the G1 Climax 30. Slight change today. And for the rest of the week, my work schedule has changed. My viewing schedule has changed. So I will be doing one review per night for the rest of this week. So all the individual nights will be individually reviewed for the rest of the week. So we'll go through the review first, and then a bit of news at the end of this video, because I wouldn't be J News without the news. So September 29th, 2020, presented night number 6 for the G1 Climax 30 tournament. This is B block action. First match of the night, 15-minute time limit. Young Lions, Yuya Uemura, and Gabriel Kidd went one-on-one, furthering this feud between the LA dojo and the Japan dojo. Uemura and Gabriel Kidd basically locked it up in a highly technical matchup between the two. As I've said before, due to Gabriel Kidd's advanced knowledge and skill in the ring, having him do any sort of highly technical wrestling matches with any of the young lions is more or less a cheat code. The man was, I believe. You guys can not quote me on this, but do your own research. But I think I remember hearing once that Gabriel Kidd was partially trained by old school UK wrestling legend Billy Robinson. So take that for what you will. But him in any sort of a chain wrestling, highly technical wrestling match, I think Gabriel Kidd would always get the upper hand. Even though Yuya Uemura did look good against Gabriel Kidd in this match. Eventually, Yuya Uemura won the match with a Boston Crab. And there was a good back and forth between the two. But Gabriel Kidd, by majority, I felt like he had the upper hand during the majority of the match. And Uemura was able to not necessarily edge this one out, but he was able to get this win decisively by having the Boston Crab applied for a longer period of time over Gabriel Kidd. While he was attempting to reach for the bottom rope, he was able to drag Gabriel Kidd back to the middle of the ring and apply more pressure to his lower back and get the win with that Boston Crab. As we go on, B-block action begins. We have YOSHI-HASHI of the Chaos faction going into this match with 1 win and 2 losses. With 1 win and 1 loss, sorry. Going into this match with... Alright, edit that out from the top. So, second match of the night begins the B-block action. We have YOSHI-HASHI versus Sanada. YOSHI-HASHI came into this match, no wins, 2 losses, no points. Sanada came into this match, no wins, 2 losses, no points. 15-minute time limit. I was into this match. Obviously, you guys know that Sanada's my favorite for any and everything. I just think the guy's uber talented, and he hasn't been given the proper time to shine necessarily, or given him anything different out of what he's done with LIJ. And I think that he can transition into a bigger, more important role in New Japan. But it doesn't seem like the G1 Climax 30 tournament is that platform. Good match, solid match between YOSHI-HASHI and Sanada. It was a very, I would say, slow pace and methodical match. YOSHI-HASHI got the win here. He hit Karma on Sanada. Sanada was not able to beat YOSHI-HASHI with the skull end, which he applied for a very long period of time on YOSHI-HASHI, even though YOSHI-HASHI was completely trying to fight out of it the entire time. Towards the end of the match, he was able to get his head free at one point, and then they had to re-engage, and then Sanada went for the skull end again, and he had it in tight, and YOSHI-HASHI was still able to break out of it. So, you know, this is me just being objective instead of subjective. It just becomes a little odd, right, with the booking in this case. Not that Sanada lost, right? It was just more or less like, well, the way that Sanada's been on his role of winning matches was him putting people in the skull end, and then all of a sudden YOSHI-HASHI gets a championship, part of a 6-man championship team, and Sanada hits the skull end on YOSHI-HASHI, and he's not able to tap YOSHI-HASHI. So it seems like they're trying to elevate YOSHI-HASHI and give YOSHI-HASHI more of a push. And at this point, it's to the detriment and degradation of Sanada for I'm not understanding the booking here, because I've never known, at least from my recollection, anyone to come back and win the G1 Climax tournament down 0-3. So YOSHI-HASHI gets his win here. So now it's 1 win, 2 losses, 2 points for YOSHI-HASHI, 0 wins, 3 losses, no points for Sanada. Third match of the night, we had Saber Jr. of Suzuki Goon versus Kenta. I like this match a lot. Saber Jr. with his highly technical self versus Kenta, who is a hard and direct striker. Kenta came into this match with 1 loss and 1 win. Saber Jr. came into this match with 1 loss and 1 win as well. 15 minutes, 46 seconds worth of a match here between Kenta and Zack Saber. Zack Saber Jr. Went after Kenta's surgically repaired left shoulder during this match a lot, putting him in different kinds of submissions and transitioning from one particular hold into a submission hold. Zack Saber Jr.'s specialty. Kenta always finding a way to get out of those holds, either with rope breaks or just with strikes and things of that nature, and kicks and whatnot. Very hard fought match between the two. No one necessarily had the upper hand at any point during the match, but after that 15 minutes and 46 seconds, Kenta was able to deliver out of a reversal a GTS for the win. So at this point, Kenta has 2 wins, 1 loss, 4 points. Zack Saber Jr. has 1 win, 2 losses, and 2 points to go on to their next match. 4th match of the night. Not to say that this match let me down at all, because I feel like Juice Robinson has looked real good in his 3 matches so far, including this match here, obviously. In the G1, Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace, going up against Juice Robinson. This match lasted about 14 minutes or so. Tana-san, he put on a typical Tanahashi match, in my point of view. Juice Robinson during this match, his concentration, the story being weaved and told here, was Juice Robinson concentrating on injuring the lower back of Tanahashi during the match, which he was able to get Tanahashi in some, I would say, some trying predicaments during the match, but nothing too serious, especially when you see Tanahashi hit some sort of variation of the high fly flow during a match. Usually Tanahashi's fitting to win a match in some way or fashion, but Juice Robinson showed up in this match. He was able to he was able to flash his mettle and still look good in this match, and not necessarily look like he was being dismissed in this particular match. And Juice Robinson fought right up until the end, and he lost via roll-up. He did not lose to any finisher, so Juice Robinson, I feel, in this particular match, lost in a surprising fashion. So now Juice Robinson walked into this match with 2 wins and 0 losses, and he walks out of this match with 2 wins and 1 loss. And Tanahashi-san gets his first win versus his 2 losses with 2 points, and Robinson with 4 points. 5th match of the night. The comedy match of the night, which only lasted 4.5 minutes. Toru Yano versus Evil. In this match, to put it, I wouldn't have figured that this match would have been this short. That's that part. I understand Toru Yano's style of comedy wrestling. I love it, as you guys know. I was trying to understand whether or not Toru Yano, of any member of any faction, was going to be the one to overcome Evil Dick, and he was. Toru Yano gets the win here after a low blow party, a low blow fest. He low blowed Evil once. He low blowed Dick Togo once during the last sequence of the match, and then Evil and Togo were standing side by side, and he then low blowed both of them at the same time. Pushes Dick Togo out of the ring, rolls Evil up with the inside cradle, and gets the win. During the match, Toru Yano taped Dick Togo to one of the guardrails, taped his wrist, and with the wrist tape taped and wrapped Dick Togo to one of the guardrails, but he was able to get free eventually. He tried that on Evil, but Evil was able to block him and rake the eyes. At one point, Toru Yano, with the help of Evil, they were able to take off all the corner turnbuckle pads, and all the turnbuckles were exposed. That bit Toru Yano in the ass, basically, because he got the 4 corner treatment on all the exposed turnbuckles at one point, and then Evil ate one in the chest at one point as well. So it didn't necessarily work to anybody's advantage, because Yano walks away with the win. 3 wins, no losses, 6 points. Yano atop of the leaderboard here. Evil with 1 win, 2 losses, and 2 points after this loss. 6th match of the night. My favorite match of the night. 22 minutes. Hiroki Goto, the Warrior, up against Tetsuya Naito, the double champ, Intercontinental and Heavyweight Champion of the IWGP. What can I say, man? Hiroki Goto always shows up when it's crunch time, and he did it here. He entered the match with his right shoulder heavily taped, so automatically that was a target for Tetsuya Naito throughout the match. Tetsuya Naito knew that this match was not going to be any sort of a cakewalk. It was not going to be easy. So Naito, like I said, targeted that right shoulder, and he put the beating on that right shoulder. He knew he basically had to separate that right shoulder of Goto in order to gain a win in this match. And for 20 plus minutes is exactly what Tetsuya Naito did. Even though Hiroki Goto was able to get some sort of offense in during the match, Tetsuya Naito beat that shoulder to hell, and Hiroki Goto was not able to overcome Tetsuya Naito, who came in with 2 wins already, and Hiroki Goto was 1 win and one loss at this point in the juncture. But by the end of it all, Tetsuya Naito, during, I believe, 3/4 of the way through the match, hit his first variation of Destino, but wasn't a full-on Destino, and he got a near fall on Goto. Goto was able to hit, I believe it was GTW, and also a very surprising move. Hiroki Goto, during the match, while Tetsuya Naito was outside of the ring, was able to hit an inside from the ring to the outside of the ring plancha. I have never seen Goto fly in the ring before, and that seemed like it was commonplace for him. So that was dope to see something different from Goto there. But ultimately, the winner, the double champ, Tetsuya Naito, 3 wins, 6 points. Hiroki Goto, 1 win, 2 losses, 2 points here at the main event of Night 6 B Block action. I want to talk about the preview for Night 7, which will be tomorrow night. So Night 7 preview, back to the A Block action. We will have Minoru Suzuki versus Yujiro Takahashi, the former Tokyo Pimp. We will have Jeff Cobb versus Kota Ibushi, the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada versus Tai Chi, Will Osprey versus Jay White. Looking forward to that, me, myself. And the main event of the night will be Tomohiro Ishii versus Shingo Takagi. See if they can, tear the house down again with those two. And this particular night, September 30th, will also be in Kurikan Hall in Tokyo, Japan. So that is the preview for Night 7. As for the bit of news that I wanted to give everybody, there was a change in directorship, as they call it, at New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm going to read this verbatim from the report. At a meeting of New Japan Pro Wrestling's parent company, Bushiroad's Board of Directors, today, September 29th, 2020, a change was announced in New Japan Pro Wrestling's directorship. This change will take effect at the beginning of New Japan Pro Wrestling's 50th year of trading on October 23rd. Outgoing President CEO Harold Meiji will be leaving and stepping down, and the new President and CEO as of October 23rd will be Takami Obari, who is currently the CEO of New Japan Pro Wrestling of America. Why is this important? It's a bit of news that I wanted to mention to everybody, because it paints a certain picture. We here in America, usually when it comes to sports franchises or big corporations and stuff like that, when CEOs step down or step aside or retire or whatever the case is, and new people come in, there's usually winds of change that are coming, and the new directorship either puts new things, new rules or new protocols into place. There's a different feeling in the company. That's the Western and or American way of new directorship in large companies and things of that nature. Not so much the tradition and or way that it goes in Japan or in the Asian market at all. Harold Meiji stepping down as CEO and president of New Japan Pro Wrestling proper I don't think is so much of a big deal. I know he came into power, I believe it was in 2018 or 2017. He hasn't been in the position for long. I think the only change or the only advent of Mage getting out as president and CEO and Obari becoming president and CEO of it doesn't seem like he's gonna let go of New Japan of America, because that they didn't mention that. So he'll be president and CEO of New Japan of America and New Japan proper. It might. I am speculating, folks. I don't know any of these men or anything of that sort. But Harold Mage was in power when the Bucks and Cody and Hangman and Kenny all left New Japan. And it seemed that they burned that bridge. And they weren't able to get any sort of a working relationship with New Japan after the creation of AEW. In this case, Takami Obari, I think, so far with New Japan of America, has done a real good job, and he's been able to, slowly build New Japan of America as a company with its talent first, because that's what you're supposed to, in my estimation, in my opinion, that's what you're supposed to do. Get that talent up to a certain tier, a certain level, and then you go through the paces of your marketing and your promotion and the growth of your shows with the fandom and things of that nature. Because they want to have a stable of talent here in the U.S. in comparison and different to the stable and talent that they have in New Japan proper in Japan. They want to have two separate rosters, just like the WWE has their WWE NXT UK roster and they have their WWE NXT US roster. So I think that's a dynamic that they're going for here in New Japan. And Obari, now being president and CEO of both New Japan of America and New Japan proper, might lend to an eventual olive branch between the parties that I mentioned before, the EVPs of AEW. Maybe Obari being the new CEO after October 23rd, after the 1 year anniversary basically of AEW premiering on TNT television. If Obari can repair that relationship with the heads of AEW, the wrestlers who are the executive vice presidents, not so much Tony Khan, I feel that it'll be a bigger shot in the arm to New Japan and what the sort of foothold they want to have in the American market. Because remember, or if some of you guys are too young to know, New Japan's foothold in America in the late 80s and 90s was WCW. And WCW was on Turner Television at that time, TBS, the superstation, for those of us who remember. And you saw New Japan talent cross over here and WCW talent cross over there in the early 90s and late 80s and stuff of that nature. And it gave New Japan a buzz here in the States. That's where tape trading started to really boom in the late 80s and early 90s, and then into the mid 90s and late 90s, where Japanese wrestling as an underground wrestling culture scene took on a life of its own here in the States, especially in New York. You can ask Eddie Kingston about that and his experience with stuff with All Japan and things of that nature. So a lot of us were put on to Japanese wrestling at that point in time in our lives. So if New Japan Pro Wrestling, yet again, folks, just me speculating, can extend that eventual olive branch through this new directorship of Takami Obari and repair that relationship and repair and build that new bridge with these guys in AEW, that relationship that New Japan has with ROH and TNA isn't doing them any favors right now, but a relationship with AEW would do them a bigger favor, and I think it'll put a bigger spotlight on them here in the States. So I think that's probably the only takeaway that we can have about the new directorship that could, might happen. So I wanted to mention that here in this particular recording. Shout outs to Kayfabe Tactics, one of our followers and members, who mentioned that in my previous video for New Japan Strong during the Lions Break Crown tournament video that I posted the other day. So that's it, folks. I'll be back tomorrow with Block A Block Action again for the September 30th show. Thank you for watching as always. This has been your good brother J News. Always remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. Keep on watching this J News Japan podcast show that you guys seem to admire as much as you do, and I'm very, very thankful for that. So stay safe out there, folks. Be good to one another. Take care of yourselves, and stay wrestling fan, folks. It's been real. I'm about this. Peace.